Welcome to the Fun Astrology Podcast. Thomas Miller, thanks for joining us. Here we are, kicking off the post-holiday week, Tuesday, September 6th. Thanks for joining us. Got a listener question today. Before we get to that, the moon enters Aquarius tonight at 11:40 p.m. Eastern Time. That's all we have in the sky above our heads that we haven't talked about. There still is that yod that we mentioned yesterday. The applying aspect that we will enjoy tomorrow is the sun trining the North Node. That happens at about 7 o'clock tomorrow night Eastern Time, where the sun trines the North Node. That's the only thing in the sky over the next 48 hours. We'll be following the news and the markets, though, because I think we've got some pent-up stuff. I don't know. I just have that feeling. So we'll keep it tight here, and we'll be covering these things as they go. If you have a question you'd like to ask, go to the funastrology.com website. Up in the upper left corner is an orange button. And I've got a question here, but you're going to have to fasten your listening ears for this one.
Hey, so I have a two-part question on retrogrades in the natal chart and their effects later in life as they re-enter your native sign. So part one would be just in general, like how return transits, like having a Virgo Venus 5th house in retrograde, will be affected by Venus just returning to Virgo. And then part two is the next step a little deeper, like having a Virgo Mercury 5th house in retrograde, how it will be affected when Mercury goes retrograde in Virgo.
Now, if that question went by you really fast, it did me too, so I had to document it out. But basically, here is what she's saying. She has Venus in Virgo in retrograde in the 5th house. Now, let that soak in because of where Venus is right now, right? It just entered Virgo, so back to home territory. She also has, and this is the clue, Mercury is also in Virgo in the 5th house and is in retrograde. So she has two retrograde planets in the 5th house. Now, I'd be stopping with this question right there. Forget about anything else for the moment, because here Mercury and Venus, two of the faster moving planets, are in retrograde in the same sign, same house. So what should that tell you right away about a major characteristic of this person's life? What are you thinking right off the bat? There is some Virgo karma that is to be revisited in this life. And I think sometimes you see a chart. Sometimes you look at a chart. You're doing a reading. You look at a chart and you see that this person came to do karmic business. How do I know that? Because my chart screams that. Some charts just indicate that this soul came to Earth to roll their sleeves up and do some work. Now, we get a couple of other clues here because Virgo is in the 5th house. Now, think about that. Virgo rules the 6th house. Now, here's the other clue. Let's think of the 5th house. What is the 5th house? I think of a jester in the king's court, a clown kind of dressed up, having fun. Or like Steve Forrest says, I love this one, that God marched you down the cosmic diving board and said, get yourself down there and have yourself some fun. Now, no throw against any Virgos because we're in Virgo season right now. But I would kind of equate, like if you were revisiting karma and you needed some support in the 5th house, wouldn't you put Sagittarius in there? I kind of think that's one of the fun signs. Leo would be another fun sign. Aquarius could be another fun sign. But I wouldn't drop Virgo in there if I wanted to punch or accentuate play. Virgos, we call on and rely on Virgos to keep us organized, to keep us straight, to think clearly, to make some sense out of the chaos. But we don't necessarily equate it with party time. Well, the clue, again, with just the little snippet that you heard about this chart, that what I see is that this person really missed fun and recreation in a previous incarnation. So you come back with Venus, the love planet, in retrograde. You're going to have to do some inner work. Mercury, the communication and knowledge and learning and moving about the world, retrograde. And we're not even talking about the aspects. But I'm just picking up on these clues that this is the soul work that this chart is indicating needs to be done in this lifetime. So now, as she's saying, Venus is back home for her. And then when Mercury goes retrograde September 9th, it tracks back toward Virgo, which it enters on September 23rd. And it traces back about 6 degrees, almost 6 degrees to 24 degrees, 12 minutes before turning back direct on October 12th. And then it will hit those degrees again. So all the late degree Virgo stuff indicating that these are old wounds, these are mature. You've tried in other incarnations to do this before unsuccessfully. Here it is all brought forward, and it's time to revisit again. So whenever this happens in your own chart, whether it's an eclipse, a retrograde, a planet changing into a sign where there are sensitivities, I really hope that looking at this from this lens gives you a better idea of how you can interpret this in your own chart. You can use this as kind of a base and where you go to get the characteristics of all of that. And obviously, if this is something that you would like to explore more for yourself, we have the 101 course and would love to have you come join us. It's kind of on this perpetual sale because it seems like the price that you guys like for the course, and I just want you to learn astrology. So that's the main thing about having the 101 course. And of course, you can hear a lot of great stuff to deepen your astrological path on Old Soul, New Soul Astrology Podcast with Robert Glasscock. And while I'm putting a plug in for it, check out my audio blog, Subconscious Mind Mastery. Hey, if you're listening on iTunes, would really love a favorable comment. If you like what we're doing around here, it certainly helps keep us boosted up in there and some really amazing company. And when you search for astrology podcasts on iTunes, thank you for that. Have a great day. See you back tomorrow. Ciao.